I can see. I can see! But it wasn't always this way. And if you want to know how to have better creative vision, then keep watching this. Oh boy, let's see if I can do this. This is a video that I didn't want to make. Let me be more transparent with you. This is a video that I was afraid to make. You see, in 1999, I lost the use of my left eye due to a detached retina. I mean, I was always short-sighted and I wore glasses, but this devastated me and I fell into a deep depression, especially as I had just been awarded an art qualification in character design. I wasn't sure I was going to make this video because it's personal, right? Okay, so this is me, and I usually wear one contact in my right eye because I can't see anything out of my left. And anyone that knows me knows that I wouldn't even dare go outside in my glasses, much less make a video for YouTube with me in them because of how I might be perceived by others. However, I've come to learn that since turning 50, I care less about what others think, especially about me. What's that you say? What's the big deal? Well, since I was a teenager, I had been bullied and I became introverted because of the glasses, because of how thick the lenses are. And I took that as a sign I interpreted it as a sign of being inferior and weak. Boy, this is really hard. I deliberated for years to start a YouTube channel because of my eye situation. At least that's what I used as an excuse to not start a YouTube channel. And as I make these videos, I'm aware that my eye doesn't look straight at the camera. Heck, I can't even see where the middle of the camera is at the best of times. I mean, I'm Mr. Magoo, man. Mr. Magoo, you did it again. Waldo. I'm Mr. Magoo without any visual aid. So here I am, making this warts and all video about how I took my creative life back. I'm aware that my left eye doesn't look straight at the camera, and I encourage anyone in a similar situation to care less about what others think and concentrate on the mission, your mission. Don't think you have one? Yeah, you do. And that's what I'm doing here today. I'm focusing on my purpose rather than how I'm perceived. And we're back. Today I'm drawing a character that represents the battles that we all face and how we must be held accountable for allowing fear and doubt to keep us down, and how we can reclaim our creative confidence and be fearless over 40. I want to call this character the automatic beatdown so we can see how to fight back every time something tries to disrupt our path to creative success. Shall we? In the winter of 1999, when I was told by the eye surgeons that I'd never regained sight in my left eye, I was completely devastated and at the lowest point that I'd ever experienced. A couple of years prior to that, I was set to forge a career with the one thing that I had loved doing since I was a child. That was, and still is, illustrating characters. You see, I've been drawing characters ever since I was 7 years old. I know, every illustrator says that. They say, I've been drawing ever since I could hold a pen. But it's actually true, especially in my case. I drew on everything I could get my hands on. I drew on my mother's cookery books, the walls, the halls, anywhere that had a flat surface. I drew long before I knew what graffiti was, which I thought it was so cool because people were making their mark, and I wanted to do the same. Fast forward to my early 20s, and I tried to get a career as an illustrator, but I failed miserably. We didn't have social media or platforms to showcase our talent back then, so asking for representation from an agent or simply word of mouth is how you'd get connected. In my mid-20s, something wonderful happened. My cousin worked for a local newspaper, and he said that there was an opening for an illustrator for a weekly article that they wanted to run. I jumped at the chance to let my characters breathe. That cartoon article ran every week for about 2 years, and then I had to get a real job as it wasn't stable enough. Working for soul-sucking jobs just wasn't me. I mean, of course, you do what you have to do, right? But it didn't stop me feeling insignificant. Then, in the early 1990s, I decided to get some kind of accreditation for my creativity, and I took a course in character design, which I got a grade distinction. I felt all those dormant years of doing nothing with my art could now be resuscitated, because now I had a certificate. I was proud that I had been awarded for my talent. It was recognition, kind of official-like. But guess what? It didn't help me get art jobs or any interest from agents that I wanted to represent me, even though I had this certificate thing saying I was credible. I was thinking, wait a minute, I got this accreditation, a certificate thing that says I can do this. Still no interest. It was like, so what, you got a certificate? What a punch to the gut, man, and the ego. I went back to doing mind-numbing jobs. Then one day I realized this. I didn't need a certificate, a piece of paper to anoint the love I had for illustration, or that I could draw. I didn't need anything external of myself to validate me. So why was I still feeling so empty? Everyone around me was waiting for the year 2000, which spelled the start of a new beginning, remember? However, the summer of 1999, after my surgery for retinal detachment, I didn't feel like celebrating anything, especially the coming of a new millennium, because I was broken. I'm telling you this because in came the new millennium, but my girlfriend at the time ended our relationship, and my sight was getting worse. All I kept thinking was that I lost the sight in my left eye, I lost my girlfriend, and worse still, I lost sight of myself. And if I'm honest with you, I didn't want to be here anymore. What happened next is nothing short of incredible. I made a decision that made me ask myself this one question. I said to myself, are you going to play the victim your whole life, or are you going to fight back for creative freedom? I decided to fight back with faith in my abilities. It was this desire to fight back which made me more determined to design a blueprint for my own success. I even wrote a book about it and had it published about how things could change just by changing our perspective and decide to look within. The link is in the description to see my story of how I did it. You know what? When I look back at my younger years, I had so many roads where I knew I should have chosen a different path. That's right, I said it. I chose. Who else is there to blame? But now that I'm over 50, I realized that I now make better decisions based on my listening to myself and my intuition, or as I like to say, my inner tuition. Just like our character at this stage, I want to make sure that I represent him as a defiant image, like he's risen from fear and doubt, but still got fight left in him. And so do you. We should learn to push back adverse situations and say a lot more no to things. Don't you think? I hope by now you can see that through my own story, I had negative narratives that nearly crushed me. And if you're over 40, maybe you know what having a deficit or blockage in your way feels like, which is just another obstacle for you to overcome. The way I fought back didn't mean throwing punches. It meant rebuilding my confidence and rebranding my worth. So here's what I'd like you to know. When you hear the voice that says, you're too old, recognize that it's not truth, it's just fear. Replace that voice with small wins. Even doing something creative that you love is proof that you're still in the fight. Reframe the setbacks as fuel for your legacy. Every emotional scar that you have reveals how much you deserve to win in life. How you doing, monkey? Looking good. Well, if it's looking good, it's good looking. I had to fight back to win my confidence. And you can too. Sure, I get it. Bad things happen. But don't let that define who you are, as in your mission, your purpose. Whatever you're going through, if it's procrastination, self-doubt, or imposter syndrome, you can redesign your way out of it. Sure, I know, easier said than done, right? But unlike our character here, I think he's done. He's done waiting for the right time to strike. You have to act from where you are now, because the reality is, there is no right time. I hope this image shows that, yes, it's been incredibly tough. There have been people, places, and events that have had bad energy and bad intention. However, I hope my story illustrates that you can punch through adversity. Remember when I said at the beginning that this episode was hard to make? Because it's personal. I want you to consider this. Confidence isn't something that you wait for. It's something you decide. And this episode is in a series of being fearless over 40. So consider subscribing so you don't miss out on any future videos like this one. I want to leave you with a quote that really helped me during my dark times, especially when I was going through my eye surgery. It was Dr. Wayne Dyer that said, "Change the way you look at things, and the way you look at things change." And if this conversation makes you want to fight for your creative expression, then connect with me and let's turn that conversation into a strategy so you can have more time to align with a life that you designed. The link is in the description below. See you next time.